Well, Times Now's campaign to reopen the Kashmir Files has now become a movement, with more voices demanding a thorough probe that shattered the lives of every Kashmiri Pandit.
Today, in fact, the Prime Minister, in a meeting of the BJP Parliamentary Party, slammed the ecosystem which he said so far had suppressed the truth, and now the same ecosystem was absolutely shook because the truth was finally coming out. He thundered that it's this hypocrisy over freedom of speech that must be called out.
आपने देखा होगा कश्मीर फाइल फिल्म की चर्चा चल रही है और जो लोग हमेशा फ्रीडम ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन के झंडे लेकर के घूमते हैं वो पूरी जमात बौखला गई है पिछले 5-6 दिन से। और ये फिल्म का तथ्यों के आधार पर, आर्ट के आधार पर उसकी विवेचना करने के बजाय उसको डिस्क्रेडिट करने के लिए बड़ा मुहिम चला है। आपने देखा होगा एक पूरी इकोसिस्टम कोई सत्य उजागर करने का साहस करे, उसको जो सत्य लगा उसने प्रस्तुत करने की कोशिश की, लेकिन उस सत्य को न समझने की तैयारी, न स्वीकारने की तैयारी है, न ही दुनिया इसको देखे इसके लिए उनकी मंजूरी है। जिस प्रकार का षड्यंत्र पिछले 5-6 दिन से चल रहा है। मेरा विषय कोई फिल्म नहीं है, मेरा विषय है कि जो सत्य है उसको सही स्वरूप में देश के सामने लाना देश की भलाई के लिए होता है।
So did the Netas at the helm of affairs let down Hindus living in the valley? Well, listen in to V.K. Ganju, the son of Justice N.K. Ganju. He was one of the first people brutally murdered by terrorists. He makes a stunning disclosure on Times Now.
The then senior journalist, Mr. M.J. Akbar, had accompanied him to China on his official visit as Prime Minister. And while they were in the aircraft on board, so somebody raised this remark, informal chit-chat with the Prime Minister, what is happening in Kashmir. Every day there is some problems, there's shutdowns and other things, and some of these blasts and everything was happening those days. People were really very upset and harassed. So Prime Minister said, well, we are really concerned and things are not good as they should be. And after saying all that and showing concern and other things, then he said ultimately, but then what can we do? After all, he's a friend. So this was narrated to me by M.J. Akbar when he had come to Srinagar on a visit, and on his way back to the airport, on way to Delhi. We incidentally met at a place. And I asked him, with what memories are you going back from Srinagar to Delhi? He said, forget about what is my experience of having visited this place. I'll tell you what Prime Minister has said. It is in that context.
Now, when you talk about the friend, who is the friend? And what was the context?
Obviously, the friend was the head of the government in Kashmir. That was Farooq at that time.
Absolutely shocking, the fact that not only was there a genocide, but it was enabled by those who put their friendship before the lives of people. Gopal Krishna Agarwal, national spokesperson of BJP, joins us along with genocide victim and activist of Youth for Panun Kashmir, Vittal Chaudhary. We also have Peer Viqar Ul Aslam, a political analyst, joining us along with Javed Beg, pardon me. But Peer Viqar Ul Aslam, here's a victim's son saying clearly, my father was shot, and then because of his friendship with Farooq Abdullah, Rajiv Gandhi enabled the cover-up. 32 years long cover-up.
Well, I read the statement of Farooq Abdullah on Times Now. It was shared with me, and it's unfortunate that he couldn't do little. He says Rajiv Gandhi could not do more. But I would like to ask Dr. Farooq Abdullah that he couldn't even do little for the Kashmiri Muslims who were killed, persecuted for their political aspirations, or just normally being common Kashmiris here. about 100,000 Kashmiris have been killed. It's unfortunate the film's director could not make
doesn't always have to be whataboutery. Grant dignity to people who lost their loved ones. Mr. Aslam, don't always engage in whataboutery. The question here is that you had genocide of thousands of people and then it was covered up by a former Prime Minister.
Well, I am not privy to the details that Farooq Abdullah has. What I am trying to say that as a common Kashmiri, we stand with the Kashmiri Pandits and their suffering. But that's not all about the Kashmir Files. This is an incomplete file. This is an incorrect file if it does not include the Kashmiri Sikhs who were killed, the Kashmiri Muslims who were killed. It is based on a communal agenda to spread hatred against Kashmiri Muslims. And
how do those who are killed suddenly become the perpetrators? Vittal Chaudhary is laughing at what you're saying. Vittal Chaudhary is laughing at what you're saying, Mr. Aslam.
And I have a question for the
claims to be,
there was a BJP government in Jammu and Kashmir.
Just a second, sir. Let Vittal Chaudhary respond. Here's somebody who suffered, and after 32 years, far from granting dignity, you continue to engage in whataboutery. Vittal Chaudhary.
Padmaja ji, he calls himself an activist, and he doesn't know that before Farooq Abdullah flee this country to London, he released 70 dreaded terrorists. 70. Not one, 70 terrorists. And there are, you can search on internet, there are reports there. There are news items there. When he released 70 terrorists, and much before the genocide, the 7 genocides started in Kashmir, it was Jagmohan, the then governor, appointed by the Congress only, not in the second term, but in his first term, when he kept writing letters to Rajiv Gandhi that there is a problem.
But Mr. Vittal Chaudhary, and it's very important, you are part of Pannun Kashmir as well. You all had also filed an affidavit, isn't it, to the NHRC in a full report, the full order which came out in 1999. It categorically said that the ethnic cleansing was akin to a genocide. What happened after that? It had asked for a commission to be set up. Why didn't that happen?
No commission has been set up, and unfortunately there has been not a single law which criminalizes genocide in India. Forget about setting up anything. If you today arrest Yasin Malik or the likes of Bidda Karate, you are going to charge them for murder, not for a genocide. And genocide is not akin to murder. And what is akin to genocide? Genocide is genocide. Entire community, entire civilization has been taken out of Kashmir. And then when NHRC said that it is akin to genocide, what stopped the governments after that to call it a genocide and recognize it as a genocide?
And the reason why there has been inaction so far,
perhaps... one more thing.
Yes, go on.
Kashmiri Hindus have been insulted by being, but we are called migrants officially.
Yes.
Isn't it an insult to the genocide victims? We are called migrants. We didn't go flee Kashmir for jobs.
Absolutely. No, there is absolutely no denying the fact that over time there has been a blanking out, there has been an almost whitewashing of what happened to an entire population, and the political culpability, perhaps that is what it all boils down to, Meghna.
Absolutely. In fact, we are going to go across and show you some graphics as well, which is going to explain to you just how there is justice being denied time and again. In fact, we are going to explain to you how there was culpability, there was genocide which was under the watch of those who were in power at that time. And unfortunately, it's not just one government, one political party, it's successive governments, successive political parties who have enabled those who carried out these heinous attacks. In fact, the first one, for example, 2006, this picture is very telling. You have the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh with Yasin Malik, someone who's of course known for the kind of gruesome acts that he had committed against the Kashmiri Hindus. 2006, you have the then Prime Minister meeting him. 2007, you have Yasin Malik. He got a stay on the trial in the IAF massacre case, where, remember, this is unchallenged by the then Omar Abdullah government. 2007, Yasin Malik shared stage with Hafiz Saeed. All of this was allowed to happen by the UPA government under their watch. 2006, you have the butcher of Pandits, Pitta Karate. He got bailed despite the fact that he confessed on camera. Here on Times Now, we are getting you the quotes as well, where he admitted that he had butchered Kashmiri Hindus. Despite that, he was granted bail. 2006, you have the rearrest in 2019 for terror financing. This happened under the NDA government, under terror financing charges and not the butchery of the Kashmiri Hindus that he had admitted to. It's very important to remember. He's behind bars currently. 2007, you have Congress's Mani Shankar Iyer. He supported the Hurriyat, went and met the topmost Hurriyat leaders as well. 2017, the same year, you have Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani. He went and met Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani, knowing full well the kind of propaganda that he was spewing, the kind of hatred which was being spun. So now the simple question is, who really enabled this genocide of Hindus, and more importantly, who till date is denying them the justice and closure they've been asking for?
Javed Beg, and I think these pictures have pretty much answered the question. Who enabled first the violence and then the silence?
Thank you so much. I want to bring one more massacre on your TV.
Mr. Beg, we'll just try and fix your frame for a second. Yes. Yes, go on.
In 1997, 21st March, which is just 1 week, from now, dozens of Kashmiri Pandits were killed in my neighborhood. I am the witness of one of the worst massacres of Kashmiri Pandits. I have seen it. I was very young that time, but I have seen it. And they were, militants from Kashmiri Muslim community and terrorists from Pakistan. I have seen one of the worst massacres. Somebody denying facts is living in fool's paradise. Girija Tikku, she was the daughter of Kashmir, not from one family or faith. Daughter of Kashmir, she was cut into pieces when she was alive. And this has been told by Kashmiri Muslims who watched her dying, not by Kashmiri Hindus. This is a fact. Kashmiri Pandits were killed by Kashmiri Muslims. And it's written in holy books. I am a Muslim. I was taught, if non-Muslims are living in your neighborhood, and in times of adversity, you have to safeguard their life, property, and their women. Kashmiri Muslims failed. We have to accept this. For how long we will live in denial? We failed as humans. We failed as Muslims even.
Decent people who were turned into the unthinkable purely because of the kind of politics that crept in. And now, after the indecency that an entire community is subjected to, comes the denial. Mr. Handa of the Congress also joining us, but we have to take, the Kashmir files have been opened and the truth is stumbling out. The silence will be broken. Yesterday on your channel, the son of one of the first and the tallest Kashmiri Pandits in the valley said that not only was there a genocide, but it was covered up by the duo of Rajiv Gandhi and Farooq Abdullah. We asked the NC patron today about the allegation. Listen to what his defense was.
जनाब वो गवर्नर थे उस वक्त सर, अब वो जिंदा नहीं रहे, नहीं तो वो बता देते। इसे मैं चाहता हूँ कि इसकी इन्वेस्टिगेशन करनी चाहिए और इन्वेस्टिगेशन में फिल्म से दिखती है, हर फिल्म अपनी अपनी बयान करते हैं। ये नहीं ज़रूरी है कि हर फिल्म सच्ची है। इसको अगर देखना है तो इसकी जांच करिए, ईमानदारी से इसको जांच करिए, देखिए कौन इसमें जिम्मेदार है, कैसे हुआ, क्यों हुआ।
Times Now confronted him and very conveniently he said, instead you should probe the governor. He at the time was the chief minister. So let me go across to Ashwini Handa of the Congress party. Ashwini Handa, I'm going to ask you a very simple question that the viewers of Times Now and especially the victims of the genocide have been asking. With his silence, where he put his friendship above action to try and secure the safety of Kashmiri Hindus, that the Congress party enable and allow this genocide to happen?
This film is made only for spread religious hysteria far from the truth. The Kashmir file has exposed the cover file of the Bharatiya Janata Party, in which the Bharatiya Janata Party has been mislead the people of the country that there was a Congress government during the days of the displacement and massacre of Kashmiri Pandits.
Just going by the timeline, sir, you'd remember it was Rajiv Gandhi who was in power at the time when the atrocities started happening. You would have known that very well by now. And I really hate to tell you about the history of your own party, the way it has enabled it, and generations of it at that.
मैं वही बताने जा रहा हूं कि हमें फिल्म के से परहेज नहीं है। फिल्म हर सिक्के के दो पहलू होते हैं, नेगेटिव और पॉजिटिव। सिर्फ नेगेटिव दिखाना जो है उस पे हमें आपती है
साहब, हत्या का कोई पॉजिटिव नहीं होता। हजारों लोग की जब हत्या होती है उसका कोई पॉजिटिव नहीं है जो दिखा सकते हैं किसी भी पिक्चर में। हत्या होती है। आप ज्ञान मत दीजिए, ये बताइए कि जब जेनोसाइड हो रहा था तो चुप्पी क्यों साधी कांग्रेस ने?
देखिए, उस समय भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार समर्थन के साथ ही बीपी सिंह के साथ, और उस समय ये सवाल भारतीय जनता पार्टी से
चलाते रहते हैं सर। 89 की बात नहीं हो रही है। कश्मीरी हिंदुओं पर बहुत पहले से हत्याएं उनकी शुरू हो गई थी। राजीव गांधी जी से सवाल पूछे गए हैं
1986।
देखिए, ये सवाल जो है उस समय सरकार में जो लोग हैं उससे पूछा जाना चाहिए।
A quick word from Mr. Gopal Krishna Agarwal. Gopal Krishna Agarwal, we appreciate, and many of the victims have come out and hailed the Prime Minister that today he's come out and said, yes, indeed, there was a conspiracy of silence to suppress the truth. But today, will the NDA government, which is there in the center, promise that there is going to be the Kashmir files, which are going to be reopened so that there can be some semblance of closure?
Listen, we have to understand what the Prime Minister said. He said it is about the ecosystem. It is not about the film alone. The Kashmiri Pandits had suffered, and there was an ecosystem which was suppressing the truth. And you know, the main culprit in the whole Kashmir issue is Article 370 and 35A. Already they have been removed. This is the way the things were suppressed because of Article 370 and 35A. The Kashmiri Pandits and other people in the Kashmir were not getting their right. CBI investigation agencies all were not getting the hand on reality, what was happening.
Sir, simple question being asked to you is, will you order a genocide commission?
The issue is that Kashmiri Pandits, finally it is the government will take the call. But the resolution of the problems of Kashmiri Pandits is underway. The problems of Kashmir was created. We always have been saying and understand that the problems of Kashmir.
So will you punish those who allowed this to happen? Yes, there were problems. Will you punish those? Will NDA punish them?
Yeah, the thing is that it is not only a terrorist problem in Jammu and Kashmir. Kashmir is a problem created by the people who were in power in the state and in the center, and their connivance, and the people with politics of appeasement, politics of
Okay, you are talking about the people who created the problem. Now everyone's looking at you to give the solution, not just political finger pointing, but a solution. A commission is needed. You can't talk about reconciliation until the truth and punishment is out. Thank you very much, all gentlemen, for having joined us. The silence must be broken. Quick break.